How are we all doing tonight? Are we ready for a Shadow the Hedgehog expert mode playthrough? Because that is what we're here to do tonight. This will be a extra recording session for me for the Shadow the Hedgehog playthrough that currently just wrapped up on Wednesday here on YouTube. So we're going to be playing through the entire game through expert mode, all 23 of the main stages. And this is our reward for getting 100% in the game, essentially. All of the A ranks and such. So we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Still getting things all set up. Hi, Baxter, us in chat. How you doing? I'm trying to get the chat overlay to work, because as of right now, last time I used a specific one on YouTube, apparently stuff has changed since. That's what I get for not using this overlay in like 3 months, it felt like. So I'm still getting things set up, but we will be playing the game here soon enough. Hey Matt, how you doing? Looks like the overlay is working, it just didn't catch one of the first messages. That's good, at least. My old one did not, though, so I'm glad I'm swapping that out. Alright, cool. So I'm gonna need to close this, close that. I'm still getting a lot of my notes set up. This is gonna be a meaty run. I would say about 2 hours, give or take, because it is the entire game, essentially. Going through everything but bosses, but I'll be explaining more about that once we start Shadow's expert run here. But this is going to work very similarly. If you watch the Pikmin challenge mode live stream I did back in September, I would believe it was. We're going to be playing through all of the specific modes, streaming it all now. I will be releasing these as standalone videos after the Shadow expert stream here is done. They're not going to come right away. In fact, I'll probably also mention this at the end of the stream too. But for people here now, I would not expect to see these Shadowed expert videos to come out until I would realistically say January. Because what you're going to see tonight is only going to be a fraction of what the final product is going to look like. We're doing our main run through, and I'm going to be doing a second run through in my own time. Because there's a lot of nuances I'm going to be talking about in a video format for this said expert run. But hey, that gives you a reason to come back, well, in a couple weeks when I have the videos done, to watch it again. I think that's a good idea. VOD will probably also be in the same boat. This VOD won't come out until the videos do, so keep this link! Because when it's done, I'm going to unlist this stream specifically. Is expert gauntlet run? If you've seen Sonic Heroes Super Hard Mode, it's basically like that, because this is essentially the sequel to Sonic Heroes. You're just playing from stage to stage. The stages are harder. But besides that, I wouldn't really say a gauntlet, more like a marathon. Thankfully, because there's no bosses, it's honestly not really that hard, and I'll, again, be explaining that here in a minute. Alright, so we're basically ready to go here. Let me just do something on my side just to make sure. Okay, yep. Tokens are working. Alright. Let's just go ahead now, because I got everything all set on my end. Let's swap over to the game itself. Get this started. Hey there, Amber. How you doing? I will say, once I get in the game itself, I am going to be keeping up with chat as best as I can. Ask me any questions you want about Shadow the Hedgehog, both in terms of the game, the run you're seeing, and even the series here on YouTube if you want. But I will say, when I'm in the levels, I am going to mainly be focusing on a commentary mode there. So I'll be explaining a lot of different things going on. I'll do my best to get comments answered in between levels. We may even pause in the middle and take a little break so I can catch up with chat. But during level transitions, I will take a moment and make sure I'm keeping up with everything people are saying. Alright, that's good to hear. I'm doing alright myself. Thanks for asking. Definitely feeling a little anxious about this one, but I think that's just because of the scope of what this is going to be. As I'm essentially playing the entirety of Shadow the Hedgehog again. This will be my 11th playthrough, not counting practice runs. Because if I count those, I lost count. There's a lot of them. Also, you guys let me know how the audio is going to be. because I'm using the same settings I did for the videos, so I should be balanced enough. But those were a while ago, and I've changed a lot of things since, setting-wise. Also making sure those posts went out for the stream. Oh, I love how Twitter's like, you still use his email? It's like, well, I barely use you, but yes. The only time I'm logging into the site anymore is just to post things. Like, I'm just ignoring it, and it's probably for the better. Oh, also, for people who are wondering, because of all the Shadow Generation stuff I've been streaming these past few weeks, I know that the DLC came out yesterday for the Shadow Generation's movie content. I'll be playing that sometime realistically next week. I don't want people to talk about it here. Don't spoil it about like the level layouts or some of the story with it, stuff like that. I know it's out. I'll be playing it soon enough, so I just want to give people that heads up. Tonight we're just going to be focusing on the OG Shadow storyline here, the 2005 one. Hero Shadow. Yeah, after this year, I'll probably be shadowed out, only because I've seen more of the Hedgehog than probably most people for this year. Alright, so we're going to begin here in just a moment. This is the run, specifically Expert Mode. Again, for people coming in, Expert Mode is a mode you unlock after you get every single A rank in Shadow the Hedgehog, all 71 of them. So I could have technically done this before last story. You can get all the A ranks before the final story unlocks. That does not count towards it because there's no rank. It's just for all the main levels and boss fights, which is a little odd, but there's that. How do you say we get this run started? This will take us through all the levels, no bosses. We got a lot of game to go. Let's get this started. So, this is Shadow the Hedgehog Expert Mode, a mode you unlock once you get every single A rank in the game. This run through, I should say, we will be going through every single stage from start to finish. For the most part, we are just going to be running through the stages going for the goal rank, but some stages will play a little bit differently, and we'll talk about those once they come up. But let's get a premise for the story here in Expert Mode, because yes, there is a story for this playthrough.
Can you hear me? This is going to be the ultimate test of your ability. Now go! Head for the goal ring!
So, Eggman here is telling us that this is a test. Technically, Expert Mode is your last canonical playthrough of Shadow the Hedgehog. This is supposed to be taking place after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog are all wrapped up. So, this is after the final battle with Black Doom. We're essentially going through a training mission of some sort, running through all main stages of Shadow the Hedgehog, all 23 levels from back to back. We don't have to worry about any of the boss fights, thankfully, because boss fights are not included in the Expert Mode run-through. It's just going to be the levels themselves. So, thankfully, this is very similar to the Sonic Heroes Super Hard Mode you unlock in that game once you get all of the emblems there. So, we're just running through levels, that is it. On average, I would say this could be about 2 to maybe 3 hours, depending on your skill level, but there are going to be things here that are very different with the level design, and also life count will be very important here, so definitely make sure you go out of your way for a lot of, like, extra lives in the beginning, the rings, maybe even try to get yourself the vacuum gun from the Shadow crates, because that can really help out and get a lot of lives very, very fast. And we'll be seeing that Billy Hatcher egg here soon enough, because I will be using that to try to get lives here. In the beginning, you only start with 3 lives compared to the normal 5, so it's really going to help to get as many lives early on as a safety net. If you game over in Expert Mode, you have to start from the very beginning, so you will be sent right back to Westopolis if you end up gaming over, which we don't want. That would be a very, very punishing thing, to say the least. So as a reminder, we can use all the weapons we unlock throughout our main adventure in Shadow the Hedgehog, and one of the best guns to use in this mode will be the Billy Hatcher Egg Vacuum. as sucking up all the enemies around you and crates, you will constantly fill up the vacuum to a point where you can gain 3 extra lives. And this is going to be really important, at least in the early games here, of our extra mode run. So I'm just going to suck up every single creature we see here, try to get as many things in our vacuum early on. I also don't want to fill it up with too much with the dark side, because then I'll have unlimited ammo, and I kind of want this thing to pop. It's so big right now, I literally cannot see where Shadow's going. It's comical, to say the least. But we're nearing the end. As you saw, there's no goal ring here at the end of Westopolis in its normal spot. Instead, we have to go slightly further ahead, where the goal ring now has been moved at the very end of the stage. So, get our extra 3 set of lives, along with 1 more from the checkpoint, and that concludes stage 1 of our expert mode run through. This is very similar to Egg Shuttle in Sonic Colors. You are correct on that one, Matt. This is basically a very similar concept they brought back years later.
What is this sensation? I feel weakness atop this light.
So, we're here in Digital Circuit as our next level. So, this may already raise some questions if you play through the main story, because normally, you have a choice of 1 of 3 paths to take, but we're going a different path here. Thanks for that, Sonic. Now, since we're here in the next stage on the path for the Dark mission specifically, you may be wondering how the structure here works in Expert Mode. So, the grid pattern for the stage select, we are going to be going from top to bottom. So in this case, we'll always go from the darkest mission down to the hero mission level structure. So right now, we're going through Digital Circuit, then later on, we'll be going through Glyphic Canyon, and then Lethal Highway. Then from there, we move on to the next row of levels up ahead, and just continue that pattern until you get to the very final stage, which is the final haunt, and then last way. So, that's going to be your leveling structure. It is a little weird compared to how you would play this normally, because you would pick your level based on your mission. But since there's only 1 mission for every level here in Expert Mode, you will just be sent on a very specific path to play every single stage. And honestly, this is my preferred way of playing Shadow the Hedgehog. You play every single level back to back, no boss fights. Not to mention that this specific level pattern, not much has really changed at a lot of these stages. Some stages will definitely be harder than others, but a lot of these stages, they maintain their normal level layouts for the most part. Just with some slight alterations here and there to make them slightly more difficult. But other than that, this is a very similar experience, just from playing the levels normally. And you don't have to deal with any of the mission structures here for just playing the main storyline. You just go from point A to point B, and that's basically it for the most part here. So it's a much better streamlined playthrough compared to just playing the game in a very slap-happy format because of the mission structure, which it does work, but at the same time I do feel just playing things from start to finish, just like a lot of other Sonic games, it just hits Shadow the Hedgehog a lot better, in my personal opinion. But on this level, we got a lot of fences to work through, just like the normal pattern. As you can see so far, not much of Digital Circuit is really that different from the main layout. So it does feel like we're just playing the main stage, for the most part. We are coming out to a section that will be slightly different here soon enough. And also we're getting towards the secret door, which does bring me to another point that I want to talk about for this specific run-through. We have all of the keys, meaning we can open every single secret door vault. And a lot of these levels, these secret keys will lead to shortcuts. Like for this level, we are not going to be taking any shortcuts in this. We are playing the levels without using the keys whatsoever. Simply because I want to show all of the level variations compared to their normal counterparts. So we will be skipping the secret doors for the most part. There will be some I might just stop in for because some will just give us items or extra weapons. Those I don't feel bad about using. Those are fine. But if we got a shortcut to take, I will be skipping the said shortcut. Give myself that red shield so we can do some extra damage. Although in this section, I might burn it by going through a firewall, because we won't be able to keep it. And firewalls kind of pop out of nowhere in this section due to the camera. So I gotta be careful. Let Shadow go here, because it's very easy in this section to clip one of these firewalls. But that's why you should get a shield on the way. Just makes things a little bit safer. Alright, here, they definitely changed things up. Instead of 3 springs, there's 1. Oh, it's dangerous. And then you get launched to 3 springs anyway, so it's a little redundant. Gotta be very careful in this section, because the big difference here now is we gotta take care of a lot more gun beetles in order to take the next light tapping. And that's gonna be a little scary because of how the homing attack works in this game. But just take your time with the homing attack. Don't rush it, line it up before you hit the next enemy, and you should be okay. And there you go, we already made it through the section just fine. So from here, let's go ahead and make our way towards the end of the dark mission path, but there's no goal ring here. We gotta continue forward. And I meant to say hero mission, this is the hero mission side. We gotta go a little bit further for where the dark mission itself will be located. Gotta wait for these platforms, which I could have just done a spin dash jump instead, but we'll just play this safe. Right here, I'm actually going to go backwards a checkpoint, and this is simply because we have our chaos control meter essentially filled to the brim. So, we're gonna go back, wait for one of the worms to come out of the ground here, shoot them, and from here, we have a chaos control ready to go. So let's go back to our checkpoint, and from here, we'll use chaos control just to make this section a little bit faster. It's not gonna really skip anything per se, it's just gonna get us through this specific section with a spotlight. That section is a lot more nerve-wracking because there are less platforms there for you to stand on, so if you can farm up chaos control while getting to the final checkpoint, I recommend using it. It's going to save your life. There's another section in a later level that's very similar. There are going to be a lot of situations where you're going to want to go for chaos control in expert mode, and specifically go for that power more than anything else. Since there's no karma system for how you progress at levels, meaning you don't have to do specific missions to continue forward, it doesn't matter which meter you fill in terms of just making progression. You don't have to worry about having a higher dark score or hero score. Just focus on getting your hero meter up so you use chaos control, as that's going to help you a lot more often compared to chaos blast. But here we're at the end of the stage. No core to destroy, just a gold ring for us to make our way into. And that's it for our second level.
Perfect.
Alright, next up is the second neutral level here, Glyph Canyon.
Shadow, can you hear me? This is going to be a true test of your abilities. Good luck. Oh, by the way, if you run out of lives, you won't be able to continue. If you want to abort, go to the pause menu and select quit.
So, Tails makes a good point there. As I mentioned back in Westopolis, if you game over, you have to start from the very beginning. But if you want to save your progress at any time and continue where you left off, you can pause the game, hit quit, and the game will save your progression. So whatever level you're quitting at, that is where you will pick up on your next playthrough. So in this case, I pause the game, I quit here at Glyph Canyon, I will resume my expert mode run through at Glyph Canyon. So this can be pretty helpful if you just have to stop playing for the moment and then come back to it later. You can at least save your progress, which is nice on that front, because if this was a one-go kind of situation, no checkpoints, no save system, this would be a little much for someone to complete. I'm already doing pretty good on this egg vacuum, because we almost have it full already, and we're only a minute into the stage. So early on, what I like doing here is I like to try to get as many egg vacs as possible, fill them up as fast as I can to get as many lives early on. This way, we have a lot more lives to work with for the later sections here of Shadow the Hedgehog's expert mode. So it gives a it gives us a little more leniency. And I recommend you do the same. Careful here. Let go of the control stick to immediately kill your speed. Really important, very, very narrow platforming section, just like that one. That's the thing with the momentum in this game. If you want to stop on a dime, just let go of the control stick, and you will do just that. Everyone always says that Shadow the Hedgehog's control is very slippery, and it can be. But if you just let go of the control stick, that will make things a lot simpler for you if you're running near a ledge. You don't have to worry about slipping straight off. So just take your time. I mean, our egg vacuum's just gonna refill at this point. It's very full, so our next enemy will give us 3 extra lives, and thankfully, there's a couple of Doom Soldiers right up ahead. And by the end, we should have more than enough to also get another egg vacuum filled, which will give us 3 more lives. So we should be able to at least get 6 lives out of this from the egg vac itself.
Ready, kidna sighted. That huge stone pillar just came down.
Gonna turn around because I did see that in the ground there was a worm. Definitely want to go back for enemies. It's that simple to kill. It also helps early on a lot of the levels that you'll be making your way through. You have a lot of smaller enemies that you can work with, meaning they will get sucked up by the egg vac. Big enemies, like the tank-styled enemies, for example, you cannot suck up with this gun. So give me the small fry now. That'll definitely help. Let's use chaos control right here. Fly away through the tornado at the end. Just saves us a little bit of time. Gotta wait for my game to catch up on the loading, because that was a little too much for the game to handle. Hook up some extra enemies, and with that, we are at the end of Glyphic Canyon. So, get my last checkpoint. Got a total 24 lives, only 3 stages in, and we got 20 plus lives. So I think we're doing good so far.
Perfect.
It is advised, if you do feel like you are going to die in a lot of situations here, do go slow in these levels in expert mode, because these levels, as we see every time we beat them, you are not graded. So you don't have to worry about playing these levels specifically for an A rank or anything like that. You can take your time here, and there's no penalty for it.
Just gotta keep moving.
Hey, Shadow, don't tell me you're getting tired already. Don't waste your lives, okay? Now, go find the gold ring. Good hunting.
Well, thankfully in this level, that's all we have to do, because normally in Lethal Highway, we would have to chase down a big old Doom tank, but the tank doesn't exist here in this specific playthrough, so we're just making our way to the end of the stage, which is essentially just the Dark mission. That makes things a little bit simpler. And speaking of simple, we got ourselves that invincibility, which is perfect. So we'll use this just to rack up all the points we need right now for our hero meter. That's very convenient. And right here, this is a little deceptive. They put an extra life on the other side, but very far away. With a nice spin dash jump, you can make it over there, but it is a little too far. So if you don't have a good spin dash, you can miss it. Thankfully, it's only for 1 life, so it's not the end of the world to miss it. We'll have plenty of other life opportunities later on. It's fine. Gonna give me some more ammo here for these guns, because we're probably gonna end up using this gun for the most part until we find ourselves a shadow box. Then we can swap our weapons.
Men status report. Take this.
Don't want to kill any more enemies because we're basically at the cusp of chaos control, but this is not a good spot to use it. I'd rather wait until we get a little bit further in. And we can also get a different power. We can just fill up our Chaos Blast meter and now have evil energy to use, which it's not really useful in this case, but it does make me invincible. It's helpful for that reason. Sometimes you just want to fill a meter just for the invincibility and infinite ammo. And this is one of those cases. Right here, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves an egg vac, just like we always do. Suck up everything around me. And we have to kill the enemy in front of this gate to unlock it, but we also have chaos control, so we can just leave it. It does not matter. We're going to cancel our chaos control here so we can hit that checkpoint, because honestly, it's going to just be a little bit better for us now to not use chaos control in this section. This is a very wide open area, which is perfect for using our egg vac to suck in all the little creatures around us. Give us some extra life grinding opportunities. And would you look at that? More invincibility. I'm not really the best at getting the invincibility power from that random capsule, so it's really, really good. I keep on getting the timing just right. Although it really doesn't matter right now to have that, honestly. This section here is a little awkward to get to the Lightspeed Dash Trail of Rings. I would just recommend ignoring them and just go the bottom path.
All right, just a little more. Get ready to fight.
Now this section, I'm not exactly sure what they were thinking. You hit the speed pad and you just can't make it to the next section of road. It's just a little too far away. So I'm not 100% sure what they were thinking with that level design because it just didn't work correctly, unfortunately. It was just a little too far away. If the platform was a little bit closer, it would have worked. So again, you're going to be forced to take the bottom path. I'm not going to kill you because I have just enough for a new meter to be filled, and I don't want to fill up my chaos control meter just yet. So we'll just ignore that alien creature for now. And this is such a wide open area, we get a lot of speed just by running straight here, which is really, really good. I say that though as I keep on running into every single enemy because that's another problem if you go too fast. You can easily run into enemies just by running the main path. The camera doesn't turn fast enough in some cases for you to see what's coming out.
Get away.
Right here, we do have to kill another alien to get through the set door, but again, chaos control. You can fly right through it, and this section is definitely worth flying through because it would just be a little bit faster and easier instead of having to deal with the platforming section.
Ready to fire. Don't let their warships
Right here, because we're at the end, we can now just go straight over to this pulley, which is a little precarious.
ready to fight.
Really got to be careful making that jump to the end pulley, because there's no ground anymore. But that's our final obstacle, so now we just take this last set of loops, and we'll be at the end of Lethal Highway. So that's our 4th stage completed.
Perfect.
And next up should be Cryptic Castle, so now we're on row 3 of stages.
Well, how's it going? You look a little foolish. You probably know this already, but if the game ends during all this, you have to start all over. Now be careful. Go and find that gold.
I feel like they really want to make it known to the player, hey, if you game over, that's it. Because we've gotten that message a couple times already. I've even said it a couple times at this point. So I don't know if you knew this, but if you game over, you gotta start from the beginning. Gee, it's like they haven't told us that yet. This level's very interesting because in Cryptic Castle, our dark mission here would be to help Eggman. In this case, we need to take these torches, and we need to light 4 specific areas, which will lead us down a different path. And that will let us light 1 more torch, and that is it for the set mission. 5 torches lit for Eggman, and that does his evil deed. But here's the thing about this mission. If you go down the dark path, you will be led to a dead end. There will be nothing at the final torch for you to light. Thus, you will be forced to take a checkpoint back to where the neutral path would end, as you need to go that direction for where the gold ring is located. And this will happen in a lot of different levels here in Expert Mode. There will be certain pathways that are completely useless for the set playthrough because they are only really designed for specific playthrough runs in the main campaign of Shadow the Hedgehog with the whole karma system. So, there are just certain areas you thankfully don't need to go down if you want to go ahead and just make your way through this entire said playthrough. Which is good. There are just a lot of obstacles I just don't want to be dealing with. Honestly, lighting all the torches here, it takes a lot of time, so I'm glad we don't have to do that. Here we got ourselves a blank capsule, and the only one like it in the game. We've seen blank capsules before, but not specifically like that. So here's Cream. We save her, and then this gate opens up for us to take a spring straight up. Now, we just gotta continue forward. You don't need to be finding cheese in this to complete the said stage. Thankfully, if you find both Cream and cheese, it doesn't just instantly end the level, but we will be needing to find cheese later for a different set of progression. Right now, we want to get on the back of the said Blackhawk and continue forward. This section, just like in the main playthrough, is just as awkward for the Blackhawk to maneuver. There's a lot of areas that's not easy to maneuver with this creature. Thankfully, he has a health bar, so we can take a couple hits and we'll be fine. Just make sure the health bar doesn't deplete to 0. Otherwise, he may be falling out of the sky. Almost got enough things sucked up in the egg vac here to get an extra life. And this section is probably good we have this, because they put fire on the rails. And the fire is not the easiest to deal with if you don't have a vacuum gun. So, thankfully, we just have one for beating the neutral playthrough. Open the doorway up ahead here. Take care of that said alien, because we're close enough to our meter being filled. Not enough where the next set of aliens should give me a chaos control, but close enough, which will be good. This section, you gotta really be careful. As you can imagine here, one wrong move, very easy to fall. So just wait for these platforms to line themselves up with this little baby hawk, and now we can lightspeed dash across the pit. Give me a gun, make this a little bit easier. And we do need a torch, which is kind of a problem in this section. They don't give you a torch right here. And then you're presented with a door you need torches to light. So let's go back a bit. Because thankfully up here, hey, would you look at that? A torch. I'm gonna ignore these black arm aliens because honestly right now, this is not the best area to use chaos control. So we're gonna hold off on it. Use this said bomb. Thankfully, it actually hit the wall. Looked like that was a little too far away. These walls you can break without using explosives and weapons, as I've shown in the past. It just takes a very long time, so you might as well use bombs. Hey, look, 10 punches. It takes 10 punches to destroy a wall. It's a little excessive. But we still need that torch. There's a reason why I'm not using it. So I'll just use this lance instead. Take out this said egg pong creature. And now, since we defeated that enemy, this wall starts to open up. We have to wait for the wall to fully move, which is definitely a slow wall. And besides all the aliens behind it, we got ourselves a torch we need to light. So light that. And from here, another wall opens up. In this section, yet another torch to light. And now with this one finally lit, this is the one we need to light to actually progress further. But we're not done doing arbitrary tasks just yet. The Chow Garden here in this set stage has moved into this room with the fans. We need to find the right Chow to progress, and you can still knock them down, as you can see. So, this is going to be a little awkward. Well, thankfully we found the real cheese. You must find cheese in that pile to continue, because cheese is the one that will activate the fan. I will say, my first time playing this specific stage in expert mode, that took me a very long time to figure out because it's really hard to see which Chow is cheese. You can barely tell. And nowadays, even with higher resolution, I still can't tell which one is cheese. I can't see the bow tie. It's just too small. So there's a lot of trial and error there. It might be better once you get to that specific section of Cryptic Castle, use your chaos control, because you can bypass that entire puzzle section. No bursting down walls, no lighting a bajillion different torches. You can just skip the entire section. Which is probably better, honestly, in hindsight. But that is it for Cryptic Castle. The little obstacle boss creature here at the end is still pretty much a joke as long as you mash the X button.
Perfect.
You'll outrun the creature, even in expert mode. Want me to beat up cheese? I'm pretty sure that we didn't actually do, surprisingly. But Cream, no, her mother would be after me. I don't want to beat up Cream. You don't want to see Cream's mother when she's angry.
It feels like I've been here before.
Hey, Shadow! You hanging in there? I know. Training is training. Now, careful. Go find that gold ring.
Vector, can you please speak up next time you talk? Because I barely heard a word you said. I get the point. Training hard, find goal ring. But my gosh, man, you gotta speak up. So, this stage here, Prison Island, for the most part, is very similar to its original run-through, but there are certain paths that are just going to be flat out impossible to get to now. So, for example, down this stretch of poison water, there would normally be a platform that would take us to the upper path here, but that platform doesn't exist here in the expert run. So, certain sections here are just impossible for you to get to. So, it would be a lot more of a linear experience this time around going through the stage. For this stage, we do have to make our way through the entire thing, which means we are going past where the neutral government would be located, and we're going towards where the final collectible would be for the hero mission. So, we got a lot to do here in this stage. Go ahead, suck things up right here. Don't bother flipping the platform, there's no real point. We're gonna use our egg vat to take care of the fire, which makes this a lot more convenient. Because it's on a platform you need to jump on, but also to jump on the platform, you're probably gonna burn yourself. So, vacuum gun it is. Right here, we could unlock the secret door for some big missile Vulcan cannons, but I'm not needing those. Let's take care of all the enemies in this section. And from here, we got a beetle, attack this guy, lightspeed dash trail ring happens. That's a lot at once. Let's just get out of here with chaos control. This section is basically the same as the vanilla version of Prison Island, so we'll just use this area for a chaos control extension, meaning we go a lot further than what the game anticipates for the chaos control power, which is very helpful in our case. That's a lot of level skipped. And thankfully, right where our chaos control ends, we have another saucer, so we can continue to level like normal. Otherwise, we would be taking a lot of intentional damage here just to continue. You can go through the entire poison water section of the stage without using a doom saucer like this, but it's not recommended. You'll need to have a lot of patience to make your way through the stage without using a saucer. You have to keep on getting rings, which is not the most comfortable feeling once you have to keep on going back and forth for rings after you get hit, and it's very easy for you to screw that up. So, just use the saucer, I'm just saying. I'll take this top path here, that's the only way forward. But also the homing attack gloves to hit other enemies. If you get stuck down here in this cage section, there is a box you can jump on which gets you out, thankfully. But in this section, you do have to triangle jump your way over to the other side. Careful on the final jump, it is possible to just jump to heaven, essentially. Shadow will try to continue jumping to another wall, but at the very end of that wall jumping section, it is possible for Shadow to still try to target a wall when there's not a wall in front of him. Meaning he's just going to go out until he hits a death plane. So be careful about that final triangle jump section. Thankfully, we don't have too much level here left before we get to the goal ring. And if we stick to these platforms that we jump on to take a shortcut, we'll just get launched straight to the goal ring for our final jump. Which means we don't even have to bother fighting some worms down below. We can just go straight to the goal ring and end the stage.
Perfect.
Wait, the game is broken with jumps? I know, it's like early 2000 Sonic. That phrase and broken, they're basically symmetry. Except the song, though, that got cut.
Hey, Shadow, I heard you were doing some sort of training. They say you need to make it to the goal room, right? Good luck.
Thanks, Amy. Also, why isn't Amy talking to me here? It should be Tails. Tails was my companion here. Amy was my companion back in Cryptic Castle. Feels a little backwards, don't you think? For this stage, you would have needed to get a lot of rings for the hero mission, but doesn't really matter. Since this level is designed for you to get so many rings, on the other hand, though, you will always have more than enough rings in a lot of situations where you're going through a checkpoint, so because of that, there'll be plenty of times where you can easily get yourself an extra light just by going through said checkpoints. So, this is also a pretty good level if you need a lot of lives. Some of the minigames for the ring balloon sections, they are not here anymore, but some of them still do exist. So there are plenty of opportunities to get rings here. I wait for this beetle to get rid of his electric shield, and from here, we'll just take this top half shortcut. Get ready, because this pulley here is the fastest pulley known to man. You barely have enough time to react to anything, including the balloons at the very end. Not the best situation to be running through the level that fast. In fact, you go so fast the camera can't keep up with you by the end, so maybe I should have slowed it down a little bit, game. Just saying. Got ourselves plenty of enemies, so we can use chaos control. Might as well just use it here. Careful in that section, steer my way back. I have had this game drop me into a pit before using chaos control, specifically in this section. So let's just try to not have that happen. Now, there may be another section you would rather save chaos control for, and it's coming up. Normally, I would save my chaos control for this upcoming section as well, but damn it. For the sake of showing off how different level structures work here in the expert mode run, I'm gonna be doing something very risky. So do as I say, not as I do kind of situation here. You'll want chaos control for this upcoming section. But for now, let's just make our way down, try to get some extra lives on the way. Right here, if I hit the spring dead center in the middle, we will be able to get ourselves 50 rings. Unfortunately, it's not the case, but you don't get extra lives from rings in this game. So it's fine. In this section, just keep on pressing the X button to get more speed. Because of those egg bombs, you'll clip straight through them. This section, oh, this is the section I recommend having a chaos control on standby. This is some of the most precise platforming you will ever do in expert mode. It is very nerve-wracking, and while you may have your drop shadow to see where you're gonna jump, this section is very, very nerve-wracking to make your way through, and in this case, one wrong move, and it's very easy to fall to your death. This here is why I recommend having chaos control and also plenty of lives while playing expert mode. Because in this specific situation, you want as many lives as possible. You may have a lot of do-overs here. Thankfully, this is the hardest part of Circus Park. After this, the level is essentially the same as its normal counterpart. But get used to platform sections like this in expert mode, because some levels do like to change things up pretty drastically, just like this. So use your camera here, this will be your best friend. So using that second analog stick, control the camera where you need it. Pay attention to where your drop shadow is, being very careful, and because I died, the platforming cycles are vastly different, which makes that a lot harder too. Also be careful of the fire rings, because they can easily knock you into a pit, which is very, very bad. There's a lot of problems in that section. I don't know if you've noticed, you probably just want to skip over chaos control. There's my extra rings. This will help because there's one more checkpoint coming up. Might as well take out these specific gun robots because I want a good amount of ammo for a thing upcoming here too, which this doesn't really matter, but outside of using the secret key area, this is the only time you can play the balloon shooting minigame here. And it's definitely a hard one because the only balloons you can shoot are the golden balloons, but there's plenty of Eggman balloons mixed in. So if you're needing more rings at this point so you can hit a checkpoint for an extra life, this might be a good way to get more, but I've never really been able to get the 50 rings from this. Usually it's only 5, maybe 10 rings. But thankfully right here, there's an extra life at this section of the tent here in Circus Park. So just go under the wall, get yourself a free extra life. That's much better than trying to go for rings. And now we're at the end of the level. We don't have to do anything else at this point besides ride this final pulley to the goal ring, and that's it. Thankfully, this one is not on super speed like the pulley from the beginning of the stage. This one runs at a normal speed, which this is the one you would want to go faster, in my personal opinion. The lot longer of a pulley ride. A lot more fire rings here, but not really the worst thing to dodge. And with that, we're done with one final jump scare that ends Circus Park.
Perfect.
You know, you got a point there, Matt. Where's that, damn 4 Chaos Emerald as we put it? Do we even have any Chaos Emeralds? Presumably yes, because we're using Chaos Powers. That one could be anywhere, though. The 4th one, maybe Shadow has it, maybe it's at home. We don't know. Now on to a new row. Let's go ahead and complete Central City.
Shadow, good job with your training here. Every day brings new challenges. Remember that. Your task here is to destroy the city annihilator bomb. Good luck.
So, this is a different level for us to run through. Central City does not have a goal ring for either mission. So because of that, we are not playing a get to the goal ring mission. No, instead we have a proper mission we have to complete. There are bombs scattered all throughout the city, specifically 4 Annihilator bombs. We must destroy 4 of those, and once we do so, that will be it for Central City, which essentially is just the dark mission for this level. But it doesn't matter which alliance you attack or not attack, so I will be attacking more Black Arm aliens here to fill up our Chaos Control gauge, but there will be also times I would want the other gauge to be filled so I can have infinite ammo. We're coming up to our next bomb here, so what I recommend doing in this level in expert mode, if you know the path for the bombs for the dark mission in Central City, take that path, as that will lead you to all bombs you need to destroy for the expert version of this stage as well. For the most part, the bombs are basically in the same kind of setups as before too. Take care of enemies, which will open up gates, and then from there, you can destroy the bombs. Now, some of the enemies you have to fight, they will be mixed between hero and dark enemies, but that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. This level, I would recommend using the Shadow Rifle, because Shadow Rifle is a one-hit KO to every single enemy here, so this will just do a lot more damage and get you through this mission a lot faster. So right here, this is our next bomb. As you notice, it's being guarded by a Black Arms creature instead, so we have to destroy the Black Arm aliens to actually get to the bomb. Again, this really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the alliance system here, because you just have to defeat enemies. It really doesn't matter for level completion. So we'll just use that alien to get ourselves to Chaos Control, which leads us up to a top half conveniently enough, and gets us another extra life. And also leads us right to our next section with bombs, so this also helps too. If I get the camera to get locked from the wall, thank you. Attack the enemy down below, unlocks our next bomb, and we only have 1 more left. We're not gonna have enough enemies to kill here though before we get to the bomb, so we're not going to be getting any more infinite ammo, but to be fair, we got more than enough ammo at this point with our Shadow Rifle. We'll be fine. So I'll take this top half here on the right side.
Hold the line, man.
And in front of us here, you can see it spawn in. That's our final bomb. And this one is guarded by the Black Arms. So, first things first, got a shield guy. Just use your homing attack, take care of him pretty easily. And now we have the big soldiers. But because we have the Shadow Rifle, they die in 1 shot. Gotta wait for 2 more of these creatures to fall down, and shoot the final bomb, and that will conclude the mission here. Thankfully, with the Shadow Rifle, we destroyed it instantly. So, why not use Chaos Control for a little bit of swag?
Perfect.
Alright, now it's time for our first of the Arc levels, the Doom.
Shadow, how is your training going? I'll be cheering you on. Here you have to rescue all of the wounded researchers. Good luck.
So, here in the Doom, we're completing the Hero mission. We must help all the wounded scientists here in this level. But this one has a special twist to it. I recommend picking up the heal cannon in this stage, because all you're going to be fighting here are gun soldiers. So the heal cannon will be your best friend, because we want to fill up that set heal gauge as fast as possible. This guy's definitely really playing with his Kung Fu skills, but that won't really help him. We're going to heal him up, use our Chaos Control right here to zoom through this section, get a free life on top of the roofs there, which is very convenient for our sake. And from here, we'll continue forward. So, you may have noticed so far, I'm just trying to run through as fast as we can in this stage, because, well, simply put, while Maria tells you you have to heal all of the scientists in this stage, don't worry about the mission type here, because, simply put, the mission type here is a glorified goal ring. And you'll see why once we reach the end of the Doom. As of right now, grab yourself the heal cannon specifically, because it is going to be needed for the ending of this stage as well. Well, not necessarily needed, but it's going to make your life a lot easier.
On those. Get him! Incoming!
Thankfully, we can heal these gun soldiers before they get to us, which will help not to fight any enemies. It also does fill up our hero gauge.
Stay back!
Excuse me, sir, coming right through.
Stay back!
Gonna heal up more soldiers. Gonna hold off on my chaos control here for just a moment, because I'm gonna want to use it in this room specifically. Fly up, cancel it here. Heal you. Keep it going. Not gonna use the chaos control here. I'm trying to maneuver in a very specific way here, because we're nearing the end of the stage. If you have chaos control for the very end here, use it at this specific end section. Fly up to the top of the room, and would you look at what you're greeted with? 10 downed scientists. What you're supposed to do here is take this heal capsule, run it over into this sectional level, throw it at the scientists, rinse and repeat until they're all healed. This is why it's recommended to use the heal cannon, because you can heal multiple scientists in one go, which will complete the mission. It's a very weird situation, because at that point you could have probably just made this a goal ring. But that concludes the Doom. Very missed opportunity where Shadow doesn't use his blue sky, have I seen it before line here. Because that whole section definitely feels a little empty without it.
Yoo-hoo! It's me, Charlie. How's it going? Huh? Huh? Me? I'm actually in the middle of running some errands. See you later.
Charmy, why'd you call us up on our training mission if you're just gonna be running errands? Heck, kind of felt like a waste of time. Maybe we'll hear from him later. This level loves lightspeed trails, so get used to using your lightspeed dash a lot. There's a lot of sections where we'll be doing that over pits. I'm gonna use this said weapon here, which I've heard a lot of people refer to that specific gun as the donut gun, and I can't unsee it now, so every time we'll see that weapon, it will be the donut gun from here on out. Gonna make our way up here to this section and suck up some extra boxes. I didn't want to suck up the shadow container because I would have loved to refill my egg pack, but we'll see another one soon enough. It's not the end of the world. Slide right here, that way I don't have to deal with the crumbling platforms. Here's a light speed trail. Gonna be seeing more of those later, huh? I'm gonna borrow your weapon here for a moment because we have just enough of our meter ready to use a chaos control. So we'll attack the aliens in this room, fill it up, and from here, let her rip. That loop is pretty long, so I'd rather skip some of it at this point by using chaos control. There should be a shadow container here on my right, so let's go ahead and break this open. Get ourselves a refill in the egg vac. And it's almost ready to pop, so this is very convenient. I'm gonna break this container instead of sucking up, because I believe this is a ring capsule. And sure enough, doesn't really matter because we have more than enough rings, but hey, if you want those points for whatever reason, then here you go. Points don't really matter in expert mode. As we mentioned before, there's no ranking system, and the game doesn't keep track of your score for every level here, so it's kind of just a thing. You have to track your own score if you really want to know how many points you had by the end of a level in expert mode. but don't worry about it. Use more aliens, why not? Gonna hit this because we have no choice but to take yet another light speed trail. We have to take the top section here, but we don't need to destroy any of Eggman's air fleet here. In fact, if you destroy all of his air fleet planes, it won't do anything for the mission, so we'll just leave Eggman's forces alone. Minus the ones we're sucking up for points. Well, these two are almost both dead, and I don't have enough ammo, so give me another gun. There we go. We have just enough also for another Chaos Control, but I don't want to use it here. We're going to wait a moment and use it after we go through this section here into our next checkpoint. If you remember the normal layout here for Sky Troops, you now jump off this cliff at the end and you can use your Chaos Control to fly through this entire Black Hawk section, which is a lot faster. But we're pretty much done with this vacuum, so don't even bother anything here. Just run through the section. Stop near the end because we don't want to jump off and miss this rocket, which thankfully is in the same spot as it is normally. From here, we want to fall down, hit our final checkpoint for more lives, and complete the level.
Perfect.
Now prepare yourself, everybody, because we're coming into what I consider one of the longest levels here in expert mode. Because this one, it's a doozy. Let's make our way through Mad Matrix.
Shadow, I hear you're engaged in some training. You know you'll never be stronger than me. If you think so, then I challenge you to find and access all 4 of the world's databases.
Of all the things that make us do here in Mad Matrix, they make you go through all 4 terminals to activate them. So we're completing the hero mission here. Even though this one does have a goal ring, you are skipping at least half of the whole level if you go for neutral mission here. So I can understand why we have to go for the terminals, but it could have been worse. Could have been the bombs. Thankfully, they didn't say, hey, you know what? What if we add 60 bombs into this area and make you blow up 60 of them? If they did that, I would not be playing expert mode. I'm just saying. That would be way too much. This Shadow crate is new, that's not there normally, so might as well grab ourselves a Shadow Rifle. Doesn't really matter what weapon we have here, we just want something with a projectile. And take a pit stop over here on my left on this blue platform, get ourselves some Chaos Control energy, and use it immediately. Not much you can really do with this Chaos Control in this stage. Just as useless here in expert mode as it is in the normal playthrough. This will just get us to another Shadow container faster. So we're going to start over here at the yellow terminal. The green terminal is still considered the hardest of the 4 to make your way through, so you may be better off going to green first, but we'll go with how the checkpoint order is, and technically, the yellow terminal is the second terminal, so here we are. Gotta activate all the panels in the same color. In this case, I'll just use yellow because there's a lot more panels here in Mad Matrix for you to complete. So, there's a lot more busy work in this level, if you want to be honest. Take care of that worm, just don't want to be dealing with his homing reticle shots. They're definitely a nuisance in this stage. Here, let go your controller, because in this section, if you try to influence yourself in the air, it can be pretty nerve-wracking. Also, it's really hard to see your drop shadow, next to impossible actually. This section is not the best. I think this is one of the hardest levels in expert mode, simply because of a lot of these specific jumps that you need to make just to activate all these panels. Without a better drop shadow system, it's pretty difficult to see where you're jumping. I'm gonna wait for this platform to come up. Now we have more panels to change around. I'm gonna change these to yellow because it will be a little bit faster. Because if I change the yellow to red, that's a lot of jumping. And from here, just let the elevator take you up. A lot less paneling in between areas, which makes this a little more precarious, but just be slow. The big theme for the Mad Matrix here is take your time. Don't rush it. If you rush any of these sections, it's going to be very easy for you to fall off the edges and reset from a checkpoint. And checkpoints are pretty spread out here in these terminals, so you don't want to make any major mistakes here. And now with the yellow terminal complete, let's make our way over to the green terminal next. I'm going to turn over here on my right, because there's a platform that I would just have to stop at and then continue. There's no point. We're just going to avoid all of this. Just go straight for green. Hit this checkpoint here, that way we don't have to do the yellow terminal again. And we have another sequence here to complete. This one I'm going to show off something interesting. Don't think I actually got to show this off in the main series. If you hold the R button to strafe and then jump while doing so, you will do a little air dodge jump depending on the direction you hold on your control stick. It's not the most helpful mechanic in the world, hence why I never really use it, and I honestly forget it's in the game half the time. But in this level, it's good to use the strafe button to not run at maximum speed. So it's really helpful in these situations where you need to be a little more precise. And also in this section, maybe not the best idea to use a little dodge jump. But it does give you the perfect clearance to jump from one platform to another on this puzzle section. So if you're careful with it, it could be a better idea. Or it could end your life. And I've done that plenty of times. Accidentally jumping off the edges is very easy to do at this stage. Especially given how there's less panels for you to stand on. Which makes this section in the green terminal a lot more nerve-wracking. So you have less footing to work with. Okay, well, good to know. Shadow Rifle is not the answer here. I've never actually used the Shadow Rifle in this section before, but the bullets are too low. It missed. So use the Eggman guns here. You know, you learn something new every day. Honestly, not really the big deal that we lost all those rings at this point, because we're only going to hit like maybe 2 more checkpoints. But as you can see, yeah, this section is still just as bad here as it is in the main level. I think it's a little bit worse personally because, again, the platform's a lot more narrow. So you don't have much room to move. And even though these platforms don't feel like they've moved here near the end section, they do feel like they're slightly higher. But that could just be a placebo. Gonna grab ourselves some more ammo here just to be safe. Even though we probably won't need any more ammo at this point. This is why I got all those extra lives. Sections like this, again, is why you want as many lives as possible in expert mode, because I don't want to have to start this entire run over just because of some bad platforming on my part. This section we gotta be really fast. Shoot the one in the middle to make it green. Then from here, we are forced to land on this platform in the middle, which is very nerve-wracking, which is the theme of Mad Matrix. But activate these platforms, and that will take us up. We don't have a spring on the other side anymore to use as a safety net. We have to use this elevator platform, and then wait for platforms to materialize in front of us. And from here, we're out of here. Just gotta activate these specific switches in front of us, and now we can ride up the current to activate the green terminal. And with that, we only have one more terminal left, and that's the red terminal. Thankfully, there's only one major thing changed in the red terminal area, so it's not really that different. In fact, I think the change is not that much harder, honestly, compared to the normal version of Mad Matrix. Unfortunately, we got the bad camera going into the railing section here, so we can't really see that well. It's sometimes just a thing that happens in this level. Kind of one of my least favorite parts of the level is just this specific mechanic. And it's only because of how the camera works. Alright, hit all these panels here, make them red. Any other color would take way too long. Gonna jump over this wall. I'm gonna just ignore the robots at this point. Don't need to fight them. I'll make this specific section red, and now use this right up to the top. And we'll have one more final platforming section to deal with, and it'll take us to where the goal ring would normally be located, and also the final terminal. No wall jumping section here, which honestly is probably easier compared to doing the triangle jumping. I'd rather do normal platforming any day of the week compared to a triangle jump. Here we are at the end of the red terminal, and where the goal ring would normally be located is an extra life. Well, actually, no, that's a randomized capsule, so you can get anything from that. Gotta wait for a platform here. You could spin dash jump this, which is way faster, but it's a lot more risky. Thankfully, you can't die in this sectional level unless you take too many hits from the enemy and lose all your rings. So, just make our way to that final terminal, and that concludes Mad Matrix.
Perfect.
Even on a good day, this level's still like 8 minutes long, so like I said earlier, be prepared. And now for a polar opposite. We're going to the shortest level here in expert mode, Death Ruins.
Shadow, I understand that your training to be the ultimate, as to be expected on my bloodline. Now go, head for the gold ring.
So this part, it's always confused me when I was growing up playing Shadow the Hedgehog. When you get to this level specifically in your expert mode playthrough, as a reminder, this playthrough, this takes place after the main events of Shadow the Hedgehog complete, which means this takes place after the last story. After we defeat Black Doom. And yet, Black Doom is talking to us here in the training mission, which is supposed to be a canon playthrough. That's a little confusing on the player, making you think either he isn't defeated and now he's a good guy, or this is stuff recorded before Shadow defeated Black Doom. Take it as you will, I do think the dialogue in here is more of a tongue-in-cheek thing, so I wouldn't really take it too seriously in terms of story significance. Because if you do, your head's gonna hurt. But also nowadays everything is canon in Sonic the Hedgehog, so good luck trying to see if this is actually a canon thing or not.
Commencing attack plan A.
I'm gonna grab this gun over here because we just used up the egg pack, so might as well get me some extra ammo.
Testing. Take. Come here.
Gonna wait for a worm here to appear. Give me some free points, and this is actually a perfect section to have Chaos Control on standby because this is a long climbing section that I'm just not wanting to do. So let's use Chaos Control to bypass the entire thing, and also to bypass our final set of enemies we have to fight. Camera's really weird in this section too, though, but it drops us right for the final loop. And now, jump off this specific platform, use these rings to get right to the goal, and that completes Death Ruins. Definitely the shortest level here in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Perfect.
Well, it's time to go back to space. Let's go to the Ark. Thanks, Cream, and I guess by extension, Cheese as well. But this level, we're going to be making our way through the neutral mission here, so we're just trying to get to the end. So, we're going to try to stick to one Blackhawk the entire time. The first one. So, this level, normally, for a dark mission, we need to destroy 4 generators, and that would open up different walls for us to just bypass entirely. But there are no generators here in this mission, so we'll have to bypass these walls by just flying around them. Want to be very, very careful in this stage, because if you do try to go through the entire thing without getting off of the starting Blackhawk here, you could be in for a world of pain. because if you die in any section here without jumping off to hit a checkpoint, you're restarting from the very beginning. So we'll be very careful not to do that. There will be health refills here and there in this stage that we can shoot down, which will give us some extra health on our creature if we do lose some ammo, or do lose some health, excuse me. But hopefully we're not gonna have to worry about this thing dying. Just hold down the A button the whole time, you're fine. You could, if you have all 5 secret keys and need more lives, I would recommend jumping off near the secret door here up ahead to get those 3 extra lives behind the door. But we are not going to be going for those lives here, because we have more than enough. We can skip some lives at this point. At this stage of my Expert Mode playthrough, I have more than enough lives. I can get through the entire thing at this point comfortably. So, at this stage, we'll let those lives be. Just gonna scoot under these walls, being very careful not to get shot by those turrets. That's probably the most nerve-wracking section here in the arc. There's just so many turrets, but if you just fly as fast as possible by holding down the A button, they're not much of a threat. Fortunately, we missed that final boost ring, so I have to fly through this normally. But there's nothing here besides turrets, so we just fly straight through the middle. It makes that pretty simple. And that's it for the arc. Really, it's not different at all compared to the normal playthrough outside of just no generators. So it's a pretty simple stage.
Perfect.
Alright, now time for our next stage here. Let's go through Airfleet.
Shadow. Word is
Damn! No! Mulligan!
Shadow. Word is that you're doing well with your training.
Mr. President, you're late for your tea time with the Chief Cabinet Secretary of Japan.
Ah, yes. I almost forgot. I'll talk to you later.
I really do think, Mr. President, you need to tell your secretary to turn up your phone's mic or something. You're very, why is that one so quiet in this series? I swear. Speak up! But it's nice at least hear from the president. And also, I guess by extension, his secretary. You know, she doesn't talk to Shadow directly. She's talking to the president. But yeah, at this point, that makes sense. President talking to us in this stage. This is the stage, technically, that we're either trying to save the United Nations president from the Black Arm invasion, or we're trying to shoot down his emergency aircraft. So either way, you're doing something good or doing something bad in the most radical sense. Thankfully, we don't have to do any one of those specific tasks this time. We're just running through, trying to make our way to the goal ring. So that's simple enough. I'm gonna make sure I get myself some extra ammo here for my weapon, give us some extra rings from a checkpoint, and then we'll use our chaos control here on this rail grinding section. This section, you're gonna wait for the fan to turn off, and you're technically supposed to grab all these pulleys. I never bother every single time, because if you miss the pulley, you're sent back to the very beginning anyways. So I'd rather just charge up a spin dash, wait for the fan to stop, let go, and you're guaranteed to make it through every single time if you have a full spin dash charged up. So I just find that to be a lot easier. Now, this section, well, this whole level in general, is way easier if you have the secret keys, because you can just use the air saucer behind the secret door and take a lot of alternate paths. So this level, for Expert Mode, doesn't really feel that different if you take the secret paths. But because we're not using any of the secret doors for this run, it's definitely going to be a little more challenging. You've also noticed so far, every fork in the road, we are forced to go left. You can go the other direction, but there will be no enemies on the right path. So there's no reason to go right in either section once you get these forks in the road. You're better off just taking the main path. Plus, it's also on an incline on the way out, so it's kind of slow to get out of those set areas. So once again, it's just better to take the left paths. Charge up our spin dash here so we can go a little bit faster on these rails. And this section does kind of feel a little empty when you don't have to stay here and attack the emergency aircraft trying to make its way through this level. So that turn we can just completely ignore. Thankfully, because we have the Shadow Rifle still, we can just take out all these aliens around us, unlocking the door forward. Otherwise, those guys would take forever to defeat. This would have been a great section also to have the air saucer, because it definitely saves a lot of time. This outdoor section, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they replaced the platforms here with these weight platforms instead. It doesn't make any sense. They're a little bit smaller, but other than that, they don't move. So it's not really that much harder. It's just cosmetically different. That's about it. Alright, we're nearing the end of the stage here. We have just enough, I believe, for one more Chaos Control. So we're gonna just attack all the aliens in this room. And right here, this is a very long elevator section, which you can skip by just jumping down to the door, but we have Chaos Control. This skips it even more. Hit the checkpoint on the way out, might as well for our life. And that's it for the air fleet.
Perfect.
Well, at this point, we have been going now for a little over an hour, and now we're making our way into Iron Jungle, which is our 15th stage and around the halfway mark. And we'll find out here soon enough because Eggman will tell us the same thing.
It's me again. Are you upset with me for something? Yes, very well. You're about halfway through your training. Keep at it and head to the next goal ring.
So this is stage 15, but Eggman is telling us this is the halfway mark. The reason why Eggman is saying that this is the halfway mark for 23 stages is because the next set of stages we're going to be going through, they're going to be a lot longer in comparison to some of the stages we've been playing up to this point. So, halfway sounds about right once you get here to Iron Jungle. This stage doesn't have Eggman's blimp anywhere to be seen, so we don't have to worry about chasing down a flying vehicle here, just like in the last level. Go ahead and grab me my vacuum gun. Everyone's favorite egg vac has made another return. Makes short work of the shadow androids here, and gives us enough for Chaos Control. How convenient. Skips an entire light speed section, which I am definitely a fan of. We'll take this walker, and we'll jump up to the top here. For the most part, you're going to be taking a lot of walker pathways here in this level, but for the most part, you are going down the neutral pathway mixed in with the hero route. So this is one of those cases where it doesn't matter where you go, because both the top half and the bottom half still work. But after this next checkpoint, there is going to be a section where the top half is blocked off, so we won't be able to go that way unless you're clever with your spin dash jumping. That's the only way you'd be going to the top half here. So I'm just gonna wait for this elevator, you can grab the pulley, and right up here, this is where you would normally go the top half if you were doing the dark mission, but we can't get that way, so we'll take the bottom half instead. The section very empty without Eggman's blimp, but this is fine because it takes us to another section with a bunch of the shadow androids. And I gotta fight these guys using the rocket launcher, everybody's least favorite weapon. I'm honestly surprised this worked. Let's use Chaos Control, skip this entire Lightspeed Dash section, which is a lot, and then you get dropped off right next to the goal ring. Don't know why. We'll just continue Chaos Control and end the level.
Perfect.
Alright, back to space for Space Gadget. And be used to space, because we're going to be here for 2 levels. The beginning section here is completely unchanged. Honestly, I would have loved for the expert mode to skip this automatic sequence. It is kind of slow, but it's not.
Shadow, do you read me? First, I want to apologize for the other day. Actually, I just became a grandfather last week. and I was thinking of maybe having you over. I know that training is tough, but try and do your best.
Well, congrats to the commander, because he's apparently a grandfather now. Well, that's some lore dropped right there in the training. Also, speaking of lore, in between me recording the entirety of this Shadow the Hedgehog series here on YouTube, we've learned more information about the commander. Like, for example, his full name. Thanks to Shadow Generations, along with the animated short made for it, The Dark Beginnings, we now know the commander's full name. He has an actual name in this series. Better than the commander, that's for sure. The commander's full name is Abraham Power. It's really nice to finally have this little nugget of detail, because honestly, the commander, that's it, that's his name. It's very generic, especially when they write the character to have more characterization here in the X mode playthrough, with him having a better relationship with Shadow, wanting to invite him to dinner, introduce him to the family. Now he's a grandfather. It feels very odd for him not to have had a name up until this point. So, congrats on the name. But this level here, we're running through for the neutral / hero mission. We're just trying to get to the goal path, which is in the same spot as always. But if you take the dark pathways route, you will just be wasting your time. Simply because the dark path will loop back around to the ending of this level anyways, but it's just a lot longer. So you're better off just going the normal path, because it's just way faster. Not to mention, it's a lot harder now to get to the dark path. They do a better job at blocking it off. It's still possible to go down to the dark path here. It's just not needed. But in this final section, if you have Chaos Control still ready by the time you get to this grind rail, let her rip and be prepared for the longest Chaos Control in the entire game. And with that, we're at the end of the stage. So let's go ahead, hit that goal ring, and be done with Space Gadget.
Perfect.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite stage, am I right? Thankfully, Lost Impact here in Expert is not really that bad. You would expect to start out with a hint bubble here, but no, it's after the first spring.
Shadow! I hear that my research experiments have escaped and are running loose. The positive and negative electro connectors must have been reversed. Yes, I must be getting old. At any rate, would you drop by my room? I'll be waiting for you.
Okay, Gerald, I guess we're going to your room, wherever that is in this place. You know, Shadow would know, but the player would have no idea where that room is located. I will say, the goal ring has been moved in the stage, but it's not that far off from its original location. So, we are going a little bit further than the stage, but not by terribly much. So, play the stage out like you would for the neutral mission. You can attack the artificial chaos here if you want to fill up your hero gauge and use chaos control. It's just not really needed in this level. In fact, you'll probably only get maybe one good chaos control out, so I recommend just running through the stage here instead.
Commencing attack plan B.
Just give me all the pieces of the artificial chaos. While we may not be taking out every single enemy here and trying to kill them all, it is going to be very helpful for us to suck up all the little pieces of enemies here and there, just so we can get ourselves some extra lives. But you know what we're going to do? This is the one secret door I will be using. For the fans. Also known as the masochists. We'll drive the car. Even though there's literally no point, this car, I still wonder to this day, why? Why is this in this stage? It's the most useless reward for getting all the keys in any stage in this game. So much so, we're dropping it off here, because we can't use it anymore. This car? Yeah, just shove it into the pit. Who cares? Can't ride any bit further anyways. Pro tip when you're on these cannons, as a reminder for the stage, if you hold the A button, you will move a lot faster. And since we're just trying to get through the stage, get to the goal ring, it's good to go as fast as we can. Thank you for the free lives. Let's get out of here. Ignore the rest of the artificial chaos. Might as well hit this checkpoint, get ourselves in our life. Careful of the rockets. Thanks, guys. I'm on your side. Hit this switch. From here, we want to jump straight down. Because honestly, all this does not matter. We don't have to take any of the platforming stuff. Just don't fall into the pits. Very easy to do. Now, from here, we would normally go to this door right in front of us. And that would be a said end of the level. But that's not the case here. We have ourselves a shadow box in place of the goal ring, which honestly is kind of useless, because all we have to do now to get to the end of the stage is ride through one more cannon section. This section here technically loops back around between two different cannon pathways, so because of that, we just want to go a little bit further ahead here. And now we want to go over to where the 5th secret key would be normally located, because behind this door up top is the goal ring. Wasn't really that far off from its normal location. Barely moved. Apparently, that's Gerald's room.
Perfect.
Sure. Seems a little cramped to me, Gerald. But now on our final level, or final row of levels, excuse me. It's time for Gun Fortress, the final level in the Pure Dark path.
Incoming! Freeze!
Hey, Shadow, you've only got 6 stages left in your training. Have you got enough lives left to do it? Remember, once the game is over, it's all the way back to the start. Extra careful. Anyhow, keep going.
Thanks, Sonic. I think I got the gist at this point, being this far in, that if I die for good. I'm good. I'm just gonna speed through things and use this vacuum gun here to try to get more lives, just because, you know, the drill at this point. Might as well get as many lives as possible. Because, hey, according to Sonic, people die when they are killed. That's essentially the same message you gave me. As well use our Chaos Blast right here, open up the doorway. Jump over this little electrical fence. This is assuming that's an electrical fence. Might as well take care of the aliens around here to fill up our meter. It's not going to be enough for Chaos Control, but it'll be close. So, next set of enemies we find from Black Doom's troops, that should be enough for us to use a Chaos Control and get out of here. For now, let's get on these turrets, take care of the Gunwalkers up above, and now open up our way to a pulley. So, this section here, our stealth section, and get used to seeing these, because we can only go through the dark path in this stage. We can't go to any top platforms in this level at all. We can't take the hero path. We have to go the dark path, even though we're going for the hero goal ring section. So unfortunately, no straight paths, no little shortcuts. Gotta go the short/long way. Technically, the dark paths are a little bit shorter, but also they have a lot more obstacles for you to go through, so they might be somewhat slower. It also doesn't help, we can't go the hero path anymore because there are no aliens for us to attack, meaning we can't fill up our Chaos Control meter all that much. There's a lot more gun troops here than Black Arm troops, and that's definitely not going to help us zoom through this level fast. This is still one of the most notorious levels for getting an A rank, specifically in your Dark Mission, because you have so many enemies here. This will be a guaranteed A rank if you're just going for enemy score alone. We're going to jump off of this rocket here, and it may not be the best idea. If you know where to land here, it's actually way faster. Just enough boxes around me so I don't fill up my meter, but get an extra life. That's very convenient. Very careful here in these said lasers. Don't want to hit them. Trying to just maneuver around all these enemies before they have a chance to attack. And at this point, our meter's gonna be full, so next enemy we kill will give us not only a weapon, but infinite ammo. Don't mind if I do.
Death to all who oppose me.
Gotta change this out now for the comically large Gatling gun. Still one of my favorite weapons. Honestly, if we were just doing a normal mission run here, I would be using this more in the egg bag, but just for the live's sake. I still recommend getting the egg vacuum. Hit the top half here also, not only for yet another extra life, but it is actually safer than going that bottom half.
Hold the gate.
Now this section is unchanged. Every single laser here, I do believe, is in the exact same spot.
Come on, man.
Same for the enemies.
Familiar terrain gives us the advantage.
This is just gonna be a long automated section here, so we'll just let the pulley go. You can get yourself some extra rings here, but at this point, we have more than enough. Just be careful not to get shot. If you're shot here at all, then you're going to fall down and probably insta-die. So just be very careful, but we can't take a shortcut near the end, knowing where the ending is. This is going to be our final section here, so let's just make our way through this section. I'm just going to be ignoring all these enemies. I'm only going to attack things if I need to. No real reason to stop what I'm doing and attack, just for the sake of attacking. If there were any Black Arm aliens around, that would have been perfect. Would have filled up our Chaos Control gauge, but unfortunately, before the first computer terminal, that is where the aliens stop appearing. So, that's unfortunate. You can only use Chaos Control in this level a total of 1 time, which would have sped up the level a little bit, but not by terribly much. But that'll conclude Gun Fortress.
Perfect.
Chat, take your bets. Are we gonna have 99 lives before the end? Because we're dangerously close. I need only 10 more. I feel it happening.
Shadow, it's me again. Sorry about last time. I've been busy planning the reconstruction.
It's time for
I'll talk to you later.
You're busy the construction about everything that happened in the city after the events here with Black Doom and his troops. And you're going out for karaoke? Politics at its finest. Want to be very careful in this level here because we're going to have a lot of situations where we're going to need to be on the air saucer. We can skip it to go a little bit faster, but obviously we do want to have some safety in areas here. So it's recommended to use the air saucer more than I'm using. Do as I say, not as I do.
Death to all who oppose me.
This is a very good use of my dark meter being filled. Oh, riveting. Elevator sequences. By the time we're out of the elevator sequence, we're basically going to be over meter. Mind you, it doesn't really matter. I want to attack the aliens around us more than the gun troops because I want that chaos control. And right now, there was no aliens in that path, so it didn't really matter. Thankfully, we have the Shadow Rifle, so that's going to make short work of a lot of the creatures here. You could use the vacuum gun in this section. It would suck up the worms, but it wouldn't suck up the laser troops. So it's better to use the Shadow Rifle in this stage for that reason. Pick up this guy on the very top specifically, and that will cause our platforms to spawn, which we'll use these to get to the other side. And we have basically enough Chaos Control meter filled up. So next alien we defeat will have enough hero gauge. And in this case, use it right away, because this section I'm just trying to skip entirely. Using our Chaos Control, we can get to the top section here, and that's going to make things a little more convenient. Okay, thank you, Chaos Control. That's why you should save it for emergencies. In that situation, I slipped off. If I didn't have Chaos Control, I would have been a dead hedgehog. That's why you want to have some kind of safety. While we're here, we might as well farm up a little bit of our hero gauge. Because we'll have a lot of aliens spawn. Not an infinite supply, but enough so we can get almost half our meter filled. So this section, we're supposed to go the long way around, go from the left all the way to the right here, and that'll take us to a warp gate. But from here, I can double jump, get off of the air saucer, and that gives us just enough height to clear this jump, getting us to the warp point, which is a lot better, in my opinion, than taking the entire long way around.
Death to all who oppose me.
I really don't want to have Chaos Meter fill right now, so I guess we're just going to ignore everything here. This is actually a good section to have Chaos Control, not Chaos Blast. So this is going to look goofy, but I'm going to be ignoring literally everyone in my path until this is done. And now we can start farming Chaos Control. Perfect. I really don't want to be here any longer. This section's very nerve-wracking if you lose your air saucer. And it's very easy to lose it because a couple shots from the gun soldiers around us, yeah, we're gonna fall off. Never had my Chaos Control drop me on an anchor before. Can't say that's an experience I ever wanted to have. That was nerve-wracking. Speaking of nerve-wracking, we're gonna take a pretty massive shortcut here. Instead of grinding down this entire section, we're gonna just jump to the door. It's a lot faster to do that, but it is a lot more reckless, so use that shortcut with caution. It's really helpful we have a gun that can insta-kill enemies, because that was a very fast section. We're already out. Take care of our teleporting gun soldier here. And let's make our way over to this section, which normally you would have to defeat a gun soldier to continue, but there's actually a spring over here. It's supposed to be if you fall off this sectional level, you can use your homing attack to hit the spring and get back to the top section here, which also skips having to fight a gun troop, which is perfect for the hero mission. If you miss the jump, however, it will insta-kill you, so you maybe want to keep the air saucer for that section. That'd make things a little bit safer. We should have just enough enemies in this final section to give us one more use of Chaos Control, which is perfect. Because here is the final section. If we use Chaos Control here, this should take us straight to where the gold ring is located. Which is convenient because they move the spring from the front to the back where this gold ring is located. So, thankfully, we can just skip that entirely and end the Black Comet.
Perfect.
So that was the final level for the slightly dark path. Now it's time for the final level in the neutral path, Lava Shelter.
So, Shadow, how you holding out? You're doing great. Only 4 stages.
This is Eggman's secret base. I will defeat him and prove that I am the strongest.
Omega, cut it out. Don't you have anything better to do?
That has to be my favorite exchange from any of the characters in expert mode. Rue's trying to have a proper conversation with Shadow, only for Omega to interrupt her mid-sentence. Then to also just go, oh, by the end, realizing what he did. That is a fantastic little interaction between characters. You know, what's not fantastic? Dying on solid land. I love when that happens. Thankfully, that's actually a good thing for my case, because I missed the top pathway due to a bad triangle jump. So I can have a do-over. Here I want to grab the egg vac here. It doesn't really matter what gun I'm getting specifically. I just find the egg vac to be a little easy to use in this level. Now, every single area here we have to be careful about because we're needing to go to where the dark mission ends, which means we're technically completing the dark mission for this route. Even though there's a gold ring at the end, we don't have to activate the lava generators. The egg pawns around the area will be doing that for us, which is gonna make this a lot more nerve-wracking of a stage to get through. There's going to be lava everywhere. So, be careful with your footing. And also do as I say, not as I do. That's a good, useful shortcut, but it's also very dangerous. I'm going to be careful here. I don't want to suck up anything else because I want to save my Chaos Control for a very specific section. Chaos Control in this level is a little weird depending on where you're going specifically. Chaos Control here in Lava Shelter is programmed for you to go to the goal ring, but the goal ring was moved in this specific version of the level. Unfortunately though, the Chaos Control pathing was not changed to accommodate this change. So if you use Chaos Control in the wrong spot, you can actually zoom past where you're supposed to go in this level and go down the hero path, which would lead you to nothing. So I want to make my way over to the checkpoint on the dark path and then use Chaos Control. This will send us straight through the top section on this portion of Lava Shelter, which will take us to where the goal ring is located. If you're not careful, you can use Chaos Control to go to where the hero goal ring would be located and be stuck. There's still a checkpoint there to use the warp out, but there's nothing to do in that final section. And it's time for Cosmic Fall. Also, volume warning, because the person that's talking here, very loud on the ears. That's a lot of words for good luck. Holy crap, jeez. You're a talker. Also, of all the characters, why is she's the one that they give the loudest lines to? And I don't just mean in terms of the character screaming it, I mean in terms of the audio balancing. I heard Cheese's voice get distorted, it was that loud, but Cream, I still barely heard. Volume balancing. In my Sonic game? No. So for this level here, Cosmic Fall, I recommend getting yourself the heal cannon here. This level, thankfully, you're not on a timer anymore, unlike the normal version of the stage, but everything is still a waiting game here in the specific level. You can skip some of Cosmic Fall if you use the heal cannon, and honestly, it's a more recommended weapon to use for that reason alone. But we still have to be very careful over jumps. Take your time here because the camera takes a little bit to move. And if you try to move it yourself, it's still one of those situations. The camera in this level isn't going to be your friend if you go a little too fast. This is another level where patience is the big key to success. So I'm going to heal this gun soldier, and I'm just going to jump infinitely to attack this black arm alien because he actually puts his arm up as a shield. And because of that, it's going to be next to impossible to defeat that enemy with any other gun type. So, you're better off just jumping infinitely until the guy dies. It's a goofy strategy, but it's a flawless strategy. Gonna heal you guys up, give me some extra hero points. Won't have enough by the end of this section upcoming, which would definitely help. But maybe with this artificial chaos, we'll have just enough for one chaos control. If we heal this guy, he would actually give us dark energy, so you don't want to heal the artificial chaos. This section's going to be very, very nerve-wracking, because unfortunately there are no enemies here for us to use for homing attack chains. So there's one knock on safety, but also we're very close to chaos control, no enemies to fill it with. That's another knock for safety, because this is the section in the normal version of this level where I would recommend using chaos control if you have your meter filled, which is really only good if you have the heal cannon for the stage. Want to be very careful here with these falling platforms. Don't want to stay on too long, and this one we'll have to wait out. We'll have to ride this one up to the next checkpoint, and this next checkpoint is when things start to get pretty difficult.
The truth.
Thankfully, there's really nothing you have to do here, so you can hear some flavor text from Shadow. Since there are no other characters here in expert mode for you to work with, you'll always hear Shadow's idle lines instead of whatever other character's talking. So, we'll be cycling through whatever Shadow has in his mind. This section here is going to be one of your hardest sections to make your way through in this specific stage. This is an optional pathway normally, but here, as you see from me falling down,
Not here.
there are no platforms below anymore. This section we're going through was normally only for a secret key. Now, however, this platforming section is required to beat this said stage. You have to go the specific path. You have no other options. And it is basically the exact same layout as it was in the normal playthrough of Cosmic Fall. So if you know the patterns for these platforms, it's the same here. It's just that you didn't have to go this pathway, and it's just for an optional key. So I hope you're good at platforming, because Cosmic Fall is really going to be testing your platforming skills. This is where having a bunch of lives really come in handy, this specific stage. And also, using your spin dash jumping also will be really helpful here. Might also be really helpful as well to still have a weapon to shoot in the air, or ditch your weapon to do a mid-air spin kick. There's a lot of nuances with Shadow the Hedgehog's movement you can use to your advantage to make this section a little more bearable. But because I did die, I did lose my Chaos meter, so I'm not going to be trying to fill up Chaos Control anymore. It's going to be useless for the rest of the stage. So we'll just continue as normal. Here, if you have the secret keys, I recommend you use the reward behind the secret key door. It's going to make your life so much easier, and that's because of the next upcoming section here. It's going to be vastly different, and it makes it very trivial if you have the secret keys. So below us here is where the dark ending would have been normally, but as you can see, there's no gold ring here. So we're going past where the dark gold ring would be, and we're going to complete the hero mission. That is right, we're going to go find the computer room. But to get to the computer room, that's when we have a pretty big change here to the level. This specific platforming section. This is where if you have the secret keys, you would be able to use light speed dash trails all throughout this specific section of the level. And this specific section is by far probably the hardest platforming section in all of expert mode. I hear so many players, when they get to this section of Cosmic Fall, struggle. This section has a lot of waiting. This is our only checkpoint before the goal ring. There was one more checkpoint left in the level, but it's next to the goal ring, so it's basically useless in the sense of this playthrough. Here we gotta wait for platforms to be lined up in specific spots so we can continue. Either the platforms moving back and forth, or just spinning around in the sky just like the ones we're on now. If you miss any of these jumps, you're starting from the very beginning. And that is very, very nerve-wracking. The secret key path will bypass this entire section, so if you have a secret key unlock here, I would recommend you use it. Because also, another problem in this section, the camera.
Not here.
It's pretty bad. You can adjust it with the second analog stick, sure, but unfortunately, with how wide open this specific section of Cosmic Fall is, there's going to be plenty of situations where your camera is just not going to be able to show you where you need to go properly. You really need to take your time here. Patience is a virtue. The faster you move here, the worse things will get. So we're going to be waiting here quite a while, and unfortunately every time you have to restart back at this specific checkpoint we're at now, you have to wait for this moving platform to do a full cycle so you can jump back on it, which wastes almost a full minute. So there's a lot of waiting in this section. This is probably the worst level in the expert mode playthrough by far, because it has the most changes. Every other level, for the most part, as we've seen, has some minor changes here or there, or maybe they're adding some different obstacles to make it harder, but core level design, for the most part, is unchanged. Cosmic Fall is that one big exception. The entire ending section might as well be a different level.
I've got to find out the truth.
Here comes our ride. Careful not to miss it. If we miss this, we're back at the checkpoint again, and I don't want to fall. That ring capsule's just out of reach, but I really don't need the rings. Move a little bit forward, being very careful not to go too far out, but I do need to see up ahead. There's another moving platform that's just barely in view of where the camera's located. So, barely making that jump. Riding another platform to a very fast moving back and forth one this time. So you're gonna have to jump for this platform while it's making its way to the path where you're wanting to jump, but it's still easy to overshoot, make you miss by only fractions of pixels. This section I am not a fan of. I understand why a lot of people are not a fan of this specific level, but thankfully the secret keys do bypass all of this. So if you have the keys, use the light speed trails. This section alone is a good 2 minutes. And that's if you're doing it on your first try. If you have Chaos Control, you can bypass this whole section as well. And if you don't have the secret keys, then I will recommend farming Chaos Control for this specific section, because it will also save your life here. Now I'm just getting impatient. Damn. You can also make some of these jumps with spin dash jumping, but I don't recommend doing that either. So this is where the run goes to die. Both in terms of my run and casual runs too, as you can imagine. I just hate this part specifically, just waiting. The waiting is the part that kills me. Both figuratively and literally sometimes too. Scares me coming through. That's the last enemy we have to worry about, so I don't care about losing that ring. It's fine. Why it's good to have a safety ring. Alright, we made it to the worst platform to get on. Now this one moving back and forth up ahead, just like the rest of them, we just want to wait until it's next to where we're going to jump, and then we'll be fine. So I'll cancel out the spin dash. You could spin dash jump this, but right now I think it's safer just to do a normal jump. That's a fun fact about the spin dash, by the way. Most people don't know about that. Holding the spin dash for too long will cancel it. So if you don't want to use it, just hold the button, and eventually you'll stop. Should be lined up perfectly now, so now we'll jump off the platform. And this is our final major nerve-wracking jump. Because this next jump up ahead, even though the camera's pretty bad after you get off the rocket, you got some leniency because you got a parachute. So I'll use the parachute to line up with this final jump. And with that, we're done with quite possibly the hardest level here in expert mode. That's it for Cosmic Fall. We found the computer room, now let's get the heck away from the computer room.
Perfect.
Only 2 more levels left, and then we're done with expert mode. Getting near the end. Thankfully, these last 2 are not nearly as bad. These are pretty straightforward.
Hey, Shadow! How's it going?
feel the pressure yet?
John, I thought I told you to sit down and be quiet.
Oh, come on, leave me alone. Besides, you ate my pudding, didn't you, Vector?
Ah, busted!
Now you owe me for that, and don't forget it.
All right, fine! Do whatever the heck you want!
Sorry about that, Shadow.
Okay, well that was an interaction. I guess Vector owes Charmy a pudding. That's basically what I got out of that. But hey, you know, some Teen Chaotix back and forth banter, I'm fine with that. Give me some more character. Instead of just saying get to the goal ring, I prefer having some character development. This section is always kind of annoying when it just drops you out of nothing. But we want to use our chaos control here because we're going down the hero path, but we're next to where the dark path's located. So the game will autocorrect where your chaos control sends you. We're not supposed to be in this path at all in expert mode. It's impossible to get here by normal means. There's no Black Hawk that would take us here, so we're technically in a whole different sectional level we're never supposed to see in this playthrough. Mind you, the other side is unchanged, so we didn't really miss out on anything. Not gonna bother fighting the big aliens. We do want chaos control to be filled to get through the stage faster, but they're not worth fighting right now. Careful of these lasers here. Wait for them to move. And while we're making our way through this section, I want to talk about the Shadow the Hedgehog logo for a second, because a lot of people, they assume that the logo here for the specific game, that was always Shadow's thing. Technically, the logo is from the Black Arm aliens, but since Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game itself, we've just seen Shadow use that specific icon now more as his essential icon in general. People will associate the Black Doom symbol with Shadow and not the Black Armed Forces. Which is a little fun fact that I think kind of goes unnoticed nowadays, only because this game is going on 20 years old. Which makes me feel old just by saying it. And you use the vacuum gun here from the alien specifically. It doesn't matter which one you use, the Black Arm version or your egg vac, but I'm gonna just use this one because I didn't want to open up this container just yet. I want a shadow rifle, even though the stage mostly does need a vacuum gun. Sometimes you can get away without using one. Although in this situation, it looks like I got a little screwed over by the level. Fun, so I'm gonna have to drop it. If you're too fast in this section, as we just seen, it is very possible that you pull back a block in the laser gate, but if you move away from it, it will deload. In that case, it's not gonna block the laser anymore. You have to wait for the block to fully block off lasers before you run away from it. It's a old 6th generation video game, excuse me, so that's gonna happen a lot. Product of its time. We use a vacuum gun here, or we could just spin dash over, which I'd rather do, because I want to use the shadow rifle now. Almost have enough hero gauge filled up for chaos control, which will be really helpful coming up here soon. I might as well just get it now. We're not going to use it just yet. I'll just run through this section, take care of all the aliens around me to keep the meter filled. But right here, this is a good section to use this. We don't have to drop our shadow rifle. We can just go right through the laser. And now dropped off right into another long and open area, which would have been probably better to keep chaos control still, but it's fine. They got all the aliens around us here. And now we'll have an elevator, just gotta wait for this. This whole section is unchanged from the normal layout, so you know the drill here if you played through the last way before. Keys in this section are gonna be completely useless in our sake, because we really don't need the points, so I don't need the turrets. Just enough chaos control that instead of going through a grinding section, you can just fly through it. take one of your laser guns now, thank you. We should have just enough aliens around us that we could attempt to go for chaos control, but at this point, we're better off just running to the end because we're right next to the goal ring anyways. It would be slightly faster in some areas to use chaos control, but your running speed is probably faster than just chaos control in this situation. So we'll just run as fast as we can. So throughout this entire level, you may have noticed that the Dark Mission objective points are completely absent. There are no switches here, which means you don't have to worry about the gate at the very end to be shut at all. So, no real problem to get the goal ring. It's just right there, waiting for us to grab it.
Perfect.
And now with Final Haunt completed, that's all of the main levels from all the different paths, so it's time for the final stage in Shadow the Hedgehog, the last way.
Shadow?
Give it your best shot and make your way to the last goal ring.
You can do it!
Good luck, Shadow.
Good luck, Shadow.
Give it all you got!
Fight!
You're gonna do fine.
Good luck.
Now go. Head for the goal ring.
They're all counting on you, Shadow.
Best of luck.
Good luck.
Good luck. I believe in you.
Since we are at the end, everyone that we know has to give us that good luck speech. So let's prove all of our training was worth it and complete our final level, which is very much unchanged. There's not much different here in the expert version of the last way. Some obstacles are a little bit harder, but for the most part, this level is the exact same as it was for your first go around in the last story. So, just be using chaos control pretty much every single moment you have a chance to, and that'll be the whole stage. Right here, we've got some worms I want to kill because they'll give me a good amount of my meter filled, because we're coming up to a chaos control section here. Although, we don't necessarily need to take it. We can actually bypass the section with a spin dash jump, and I'm going to be doing that. I'm just going to want to fill my meter just enough. And right here, they want you to use chaos control, but you could just barely make this jump. So I'd rather do that because you would immediately stop using chaos control here anyways. That's if you want some refills. And right here is a shadow box, so I do want a refill. Now, if I can hurry up and keep this chaos control meter, this is a better section to keep it because up ahead is another chaos control section. So we are forced to use it here regardless. So, unfortunately, the worms don't come out because, well, they just don't want to, I guess. We'll use our chaos control here, hit a checkpoint, and take our big loop here, which is a loop we've seen a couple times already, thanks to Final Haunt. Take out the big alien soldiers here. It really helps on our chaos control meter. Now we're filled up very, very fast. That's another extra life here. And we're getting near the end of this X mode playthrough. And we're at 97 lives. Just 2 more. We have an even 100. Or an even 99. I know all the math. This section has, I believe, more Blackhawks you have to use on a homing attack chain. Doesn't really matter when you have chaos control. And that's the whole gimmick of this level anyways. Chaos control. Everywhere. We have to use it in this section anyway, so I might as well use it here before we get to the chaos control section. And again, another chaos control section is right here. So we'll use our remaining chaos control meter and fly up to the top, which gives us not 1, but 2 shadow boxes and our final checkpoint. And we did it. We're at the end of the X mode playthrough. But more importantly, we got a 99 life count. We hit the maximum lives here in Shadow the Hedgehog by the end. So what do you say? To end off this run through, we give Shadow one more Chaos Control. Let her rip.
Behold the ultimate power.
A little anticlimactic because the goal ring is a little further ahead, but that got us through the last set of enemies, and the final goal ring has now been achieved. That is it for the X mode playthrough of Shadow the Hedgehog. So,
Perfect.
with this being complete, enjoy the credits theme, which is Never Turn Back by Crush 40. that's it. That was our X mode playthrough, all in one sitting. Pretty much right as I said, too. I said that would be a 2-hour playthrough, give or take, and it was exactly around 2 hours. So that is all of the Shadow the Hedgehog Expert Mode, which makes our final playthrough of Shadow the Hedgehog now completed. So that is going to do it for tonight's stream of Shadow. So if you missed it in the beginning, this X mode playthrough will be broken up into multiple videos as one final little series for the Shadow the Hedgehog Let's Play series. But it's going to take me some time to put these together because there's going to be some extra nuances that I am going to be talking about in the video as well. So I will be playing this again on my own personal downtime, getting some extra footage, running through certain levels, showing certain extra scenarios. Like I did mention back over in Lava Shelter, if you use Chaos Control in a certain section, it will send you down the hero path instead. Stuff like that I do want to talk about in those said videos. So they're gonna need a little extra work besides just what we did tonight. But tonight's stream was the big core component of the playthrough, and for the most part, watching these videos back, you'll see a lot of that same experience I experienced tonight. This VOD, however, will not be going up on the VOD channel right away. If you watch that Pikmin Challenge Mode stream I did back in September, it's going to be a very similar format, where this specific stream will be uploaded after all of the Expert Mode videos are up here on the main channel. Then I will be putting this VOD onto the Livestream archive channel. So keep this link for this specific video if you want to revisit the VOD before it releases on my secondary channel. This will be unlisted after the stream is over, so you can easily refer back to it. It's just, I unlist streams on YouTube, so it doesn't clutter people's sub feed. That's what the VOD channel is for. It's for the VODs. So that's your heads up. But thanks to everyone who came out for this specific stream. This was a lot of fun, and that's my last big thing I personally needed to do for Shadow the Hedgehog recordings. Now from here, just some extra little footage here and there for bonus content, and I'm basically done, which is good timing for my Year of Shadow to also be done. So with that said, I will point people, if you haven't seen it, go check out the finale of the series. Highly recommend. And if you want to binge the whole thing, because the whole thing is obviously up, go check out the Shadow the Hedgehog playlist itself, and you can watch the entire series at this point. But yeah, that's gonna do it. From here, I am wanting to figure out how to do a raid on YouTube. I was looking at that during the credit sequence. I think I need special permissions for channels, so it's kind of So I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way by telling people to go places. My good friend Misty Dawn has been streaming on YouTube for the past couple months at this point, so I am going to send you over there to her channel. I'm just gonna make sure I get the specific information. I was gonna do a redirect, but redirects only work apparently if you have permissions from channels, which I'm learning new things about YouTube streaming every single time I do more of these. So gonna have to just do this the old-fashioned way by doing a copy and paste, which is fun. So go check out my good friend, Misty Dawn. Tell her I say hi, and tell her, I don't know, what we want for a message. How about that? You know what? Tell her Cosmic Falling. Because that's all we were doing, Cosmic Fall. Actually, no, I have a better one. You want a raid message? Tell her I said Cosmic Failing. And she asks, just tell her falling a lot. That's all she'll need to know. Give her that message. Send her my regards, and hopefully everyone else has a good rest of their night. I will be back over on Twitch exclusively for the rest of this year. I will be streaming the Shadow DLC for Shadow Generations, probably just only on Twitch, because when I hear it's about maybe half an hour tops. I don't want to just have a random YouTube stream just for that, because I'm probably going to just play that DLC at the end of something else I'm going to be streaming anyways. So if you're wanting to see the Shadow DLC, check out the Twitch streams. I'll be back on Tuesday with something different, and also the Shadow DLC probably in this week. But with that, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, send Misty Dawn my love. And I'll see you guys back over on Twitch this upcoming week. Take care and have a good night, everybody.